Hello, oddlings, and welcome to this week's installment of Oddly Medical. I'm Sarah.
I'm Chrissy.
And today we are going to be talking about radium.
Woohoo!
Do we have any podcast minutiae?
We have a listener request.
Oh, yeah. So we had a listener request, and Steven, I am going to do your request next week.
So you better be listening.
Hear it.
And if you haven't heard anything other than our first episode, which I guess means you won't be hearing this one, so go back and listen. I don't know. I'm trying. A for effort.
Okay.
Or an E.
You're pretty.
I know. Thank God.
All right. So let's just get into it then. So, radium. Radium is a radioactive material that is found in uranium ore and is a byproduct of uranium mining. It comes from the Latin word radius, meaning ray.
I think of radius, I think of a circle.
It's like a circle.
It's like a circle. Bailey and Jody, we totally joked about that the whole way to y'all's wedding, by the way.
Oh, man.
And, yeah.
Anyway, radioactivity was discovered in 1896 by French physicist Antoine-Henri Becquerel.
Nailed it.
So he was a professor to Marie Curie.
Who we all remember died of radium poisoning.
Yeah, but you're getting way ahead of the
Sorry.
story.
Listen, I was smart and I knew something. So I had to make sure I pointed that out before you said it. So I could have that one, like, where's my board? Click, one for me.
So Marie Curie, along with her husband Pierre, discovered radium in 1898. They managed to extract 1 milligram of radium from 10 tons of uranium ore.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, so I was actually reading about it earlier. Pierre's study was not in radioactivity. His field of study was actually in crystals and things like that. Not that kind of crystals.
I'm Jim Henson.
Right. When she was trying to extract the radium from the uranium ore, that is when Pierre got in on the mix, even though...
He was like, hey, here's something new.
Well, so a lot of newspapers and things like that were like, oh, it was him and she was his assistant. No, Not so, my friends.
That's why we know who Madame Curie is. And Pierre, like, some people may know of him, but you think Madame Curie, and there's an automatic thought process there.
Yeah, but the history books have tried their darndest for that not to be a thing. Anyway, so radium was found to emit alpha particles that destroyed cancer cells faster than healthy cells. So it began to be used to treat cancer. Since people are trash, they were like, if it treats cancer, it's got to treat everything. Yay!
Thank God for medical advances.
Are there though?
Well, you know, they try. They also get an E for effort.
So, radium also glows.
Yes.
So, the radiation in the mineral agitates the nitrogen in the air and creates a buzz of energy that is perceptible as a shimmer of light. So, obviously, it must provide a healthy glow to people. This is where people go with this, friends.
You don't need Jergens. You just need radium.
So, with the thought process that if it cures cancer, it's got to cure pretty much everything, and glowing is synonymous with health.
Yeah, they say you glow when you're pregnant. That's not glowing. That's the sweat is getting a glisten from the sun. Because I can assure you my ass was not glowing. I was pissed off and hot.
Radium began to be available in regular products around the world. So, the first thing they started to do was radium water, which is exactly what it sounds. It is water that is infused with radium. You dissolve radium in water, and it was sold as an energy drink. Yes, even then they wanted Monsters. And a cure-all.
Oh, Lord.
The most famous brand is called Radathor.
Oh, that sounds intense.
Radathor!
I probably would have drank it, too.
Patients were advised to drink from the container throughout the day to cure ailments. 1 ounce of this drink cost $1, which in like 2016 money is about $15 for 1 ounce.
Jeez. I mean, it was a cure-all. You did cure all your ailments because you died.
Oh, we're going to get
You're not hurting anymore.
Or you're not going to drink it long because you're going to be poor quickly.
That too, yeah.
So it claimed to cure a host of ailments, but the one that would his best seller be impotence. Because
like my microphone had earlier.
Because if you tell men it'll help their ding ding, that shit's gonna fly off
Ding
the shelves.
ding.
Yeah. So this was based on one study that claimed the water increased the sexual passion of water newts.
I'm pretty sure we had this discussion before about you need more than one study.
Did you hear me? The sexual passion of water newts.
What's a water? A newt?
A newt. I knew you missed it because you kept talking.
I have questions.
I have many questions.
I have questions.
So, one of the biggest proponents of a Radiathor was Eben Byers. So he was a Pittsburgh industrialist and amateur golfer of some repute.
Of course he was.
Of course he was, right. Initially, he broke his arm, and he wanted to speed up the healing of his arm. So,
like you do.
Right. As somebody who's got a bum foot, I get that.
Fair.
But eventually he became addicted to it. Psychologically, not physically addicted.
Oh, I was going to say, I didn't realize.
No, it's not. But he thought, oh my God, it works so well.
The psychosomatic kicked in?
Yeah. So, reportedly, he drank 1 to 2 bottles a day for 3 years. Yeah. And told all his friends about it and been like, I'm the best in bed that I've ever been. And I'm healthy and all this different stuff, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he eventually developed holes in his skull.
In his skull?
We'll get to that.
It ate through the bone?
We'll get to that.
Oh.
He lost most of his jaw and suffered many other bone-related illnesses.
He's no longer good in bed because ain't nobody hopping in the sack with him.
No, not Quasimodo, man.
No.
So he died on March 31st of 1932. Why did it cause holes and all that sort of thing? So radium confuses the body. The reason it works for cancer is because when radium is introduced into the body mistakes it for calcium and takes it up and incorporates it into your bones.
Okay.
So if you've got a bone cancer, this targets that. Like, the radium will go directly to your bone.
But if you don't have bone cancer, then it causes holes, or?
So anything in large amounts, if you do too much of it, is going to be toxic.
Oh, yeah.
It replaces so much calcium that your osteocytes, they're not making anything else. Your bone cells aren't really making anything else.
Yeah.
So as the calcium wears away, because your bones wear away,
Yeah. No, I'm learning that as I get older.
there's holes because it's not looking for any more calcium to replace it. Because it thinks there's calcium there.
Okay.
But there's not.
There's not.
There's not.
Even I know that.
Right. The other problem with this is your red blood cells are made in your bone marrow. So you have your red bone marrow and your yellow bone marrow. Your red bone marrow makes your red blood cells, and your white marrow makes like your white blood cells.
I learned something today. I've heard of them like testing bone marrow, and because they did it on my husband, and it is one of the most excruciating.
It's not as bad anymore. That was back when they still used to screw that sucker in. I've seen that too. Yeah, it's the crack that you live for.
Oh.
But when it also causes suppression of your red bone marrow, causing a type of anemia called aplastic anemia.
Okay, heard of it.
Which means you will not make red blood cells.
Yeah.
Which makes you extremely anemic, blah, 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 blah. You end up dying. So.
Which is bad.
These are the big problems with consuming radium.
Hashtag just don't.
Hashtag just don't. The other problem with radium is it doesn't really go away quickly because the half-life of radium is 1,600 years.
No Methuselahs were taking it?
No, none of that,
okay.
none of that. So, Eben's body was exhumed in 1965, they were like, oh, well, if he drank this much Radiathor over this period of time, his bones should contain this much radium.
Please tell me that he was nothing but dust or Swiss cheese.
No. Well, I mean, he was Swiss cheese, but... So when they exhumed his body, they found that it was extremely radioactive. They expected to find 100,000 becquerels, which is apparently the international unit of radioactivity measurement.
On a Geiger counter?
No, that's different.
Oh, I still want points for that.
Yeah, you do.
Okay,
And we're talking about Geiger counters. But, so they thought they'd find 100,000 of these, but they ended up finding 225,000.
Damn! He could power a nuclear plant.
Yeah, he was reburied in a lead coffin.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
With a sign that says don't.
Just don't. Luckily, radium water was fairly cost prohibitive, so it never really got, like, caught on as a widespread thing.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and the government shut down Bailey Radium Laboratories that produced Radiothor. A bottle of it, however, so they have these bottles and shit at various museums, and I think around the 80s, people were like, hey, is that thing still radioactive? And they started testing this stuff.
They didn't realize that till the 80s?
I don't know why they didn't think it wasn't going to be a thing.
Oh my God.
So, at the they had a bottle of it at the National Atomic Testing Museum that was tested with a Geiger counter and found to still be so radioactive that it had to be buried in an atomic waste disposal site in Nevada.
God.
Yes.
How many of those are still out and about? Do we know? Do they know? God, I hope they found them all. If you find this at a museum, walk the other way.
Here's the problem with that. Sometimes people find stuff when they're cleaning out things and whatnot of, like old Victorian houses.
Yes.
And you go through stuff. Right. Okay. We're going to talk about...
We found dolls in our attic when we bought it. No. Yeah, I looked at my husband. I'm like, and you're up.
No, not it. So the next little fun device we're going to talk about is a radioendocrinator.
Say that 3 times fast.
I hate you. Anyway, it's a scrotal irradiator.
A scrotal?
Yeah, scrotum.
Oh.
The junk.
The junk.
It was a little device that was placed on the scrotum and then held in place by a special jock strap. The radioactivity came from tiny pieces of paper that were loaded with uranium sulfate and then enclosed in a metal case about the size of a credit card with like a mesh front. I'll include a picture. It's cold. Totally wild.
Please do.
Oh yeah. That's going to be on all the picture available places.
All the picture available places, which would be our website, TikTok, Facebook,
YouTube.
Yep, go find it.
Yeah. It was advertised as a cure for impotency and increased virility. Again, you tell men it's going to help with their junk, they all about it.
But how many men were that willing to clamp something on their balls?
Well, they cost about $1,000 in the way
back then.
Yeah, so it was fairly cost prohibitive. The instructions were to wear nightly. However, if you used it as instructed, the radiation exposure was enough to cause sterility, cancer, and actual burns. Like radiation burns.
Well, yeah. What? That thing is a sensitive crown royal sack. You're not supposed to put stuff on it.
Sensitive crown royal sack. I'm done with you. I'm done with it. It's fuzzy.
Yeah. Oh my God. I have questions.
I have so many questions. So, there was one that was recently found in a relative's possessions. We cleaning out basements here.
Imagine Googling that and going, Grandpa!
It had to be donated in a lead-lined suitcase.
Jeez.
Yes. Next, we're going to talk about radium water crocs. So...
Please tell me they're shoes. Please tell me they're shoes.
Croc, like a water croc.
I'm thinking like...
It's a cistern.
I'm thinking of Crocs like you walk around in.
This is the way back when they didn't have Crocs. It's a cistern, damn it.
I can dream.
So this was pottery that was fired with radioactive materials. It was designed to irradiate your water overnight. So the radium ore revogator was touted as the perpetual health spring in your home. The instructions were to drink freely, when thirsty, and upon arising and retiring, to an average of 6 or more glasses a day. So there's quite a few of these in museums. However, as long as you don't take the top off, you're fine. The radium is on the inside of the water crock.
Oh, okay. But, I mean, when you put water inside crock,
yes,
it infuses it.
Yes.
I can't wait to see a picture of this because I know that I've seen a lot of, like, old school crocks.
Yes, that have water on them. Yeah.
That have water in them. And
yeah.
I've probably drank from them because they were like, oh, it's an antique. Isn't it great? Now I'm worried.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, and, it's an antique, so it's probably got lead paint and glaze on it anyway.
That's on the outside.
No, it's on the inside, too.
Oh, well, I'm just double screwed.
Yep.
Don't drink from antiques, folks.
Yep. So at the National Museum of Nuclear... why do I have science and science? Nuclear science. I don't know what I was... Science and technology, sorry.
Overachiever.
Science and science!
All the science.
All the science.
All the science.
They have a collection of products that had like radium in the title, but didn't actually contain any radium. Radium is fairly costly. So these were more affordable products with radium in the name, but didn't actually contain any radium.
So they were dupe fakes.
Yeah, basically. So, but people assumed they were buying stuff with radium in it.
But it's like that Louis Vuitton I bought in Mexico. It's fake.
Right, but people mistook it, and...
People outside mistake it for a real one.
Well, and it's a pretty good fake, actually.
It is.
But, yeah, I mean, people, look at us, look at how much money we have, look at this, that we use the radium stuff, and it was like a status thing. So, among the things that they have was Radium brand creamery butter.
Oh, I've got a face.
Radium spot remover. Radium hand cleaner, on which the motto, takes off everything but the skin, is printed on. I have pictures of that.
I can't wait.
And Klein's Radium Solve. This was for hemorrhoids. And this one is the only product they have that actually does contain a small amount of radium. So,
Do not apply orally.
Get in there. But they also had radioactive pads. These were, women were instructed to wear these on their back by day and over their stomach at night to cure hysteria. Because why not?
Listen, it ain't hysteria. We're just sick of your shit.
They put it into chicken feed that you could buy in the hopes that the eggs would self-incubate or at least self-cook.
Or, dyeing Easter eggs just got a lot easier, and you can Easter egg hunt at night because they now glow.
It was also put in a variety of other products such as wool for babies, condoms, cigarettes, chocolate in Germany, and cosmetics. So while I've ragged on the guys from now, talking about, if it's your wiener, you'll... Okay.
That's fair. If it's going to make you look younger...
Now we're going to go for the women. Now I'm going to come for us.
You're coming for me because
I
feel like I look really old lately and I'm not a fan of it.
Just remember, as much
Botox is just a needle away.
Botox is botulism in your face, and we do that right now. We're going to discuss a couple of cosmetic brands that were offered these products. So we have Radior. It was a 1917 London-based cosmetics company.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Radior.
Here is an excerpt from a 1918 radio ad.
Please. Yes.
Although, unfortunately, I kind of... this reads in my brain like those old reels that go like this.
Oh, yeah, the vaudeville. Because that's how they did it back then. I love vaudeville.
I can do this like that.
Oh, yes. Now you have to.
Radiothor, an ever-flowing fountain of youth and beauty, has at last been found in the energy rays of radium. When scientists discovered radium, they hardly dreamed they had unearthed a revolutionary beauty secret. They know it now. Radium ray vitalize... sorry. I made myself laugh. Radium rays vitalize and energy all living tissue. This energy has been turned into beauty's aid. Each and every Radior toilet requisite contains a definite quantity of actual radium.
Can I get some? Yeah, I would have been sold. I'd have been like, honey, I need your wallet.
There is also Thoradia.
It's Thoradia.
It's Thoradia. It's Thoraven. Sorry. So this was a 1933 French cosmetics company. It was endorsed by a Dr. Alfred Curie. Now, he was the front man. The only reason they had this dude on anything was...
Because of his name?
Right, because he had the last name Curie. He was an actual doctor, but he had no interest, did no research in the fields of radiation or chemistry.
Oh. That's the one to market.
Just regular but nobody looked into that. They're like, Dr. Alfred Curie.
Well, there wasn't exactly Google back then.
Correct. So the reason it's called thorium is it did contain radium, but it also contained thorium chloride, which is another radioactive element.
So lots of radioactiveness happening.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a print ad from them. An excerpt from a print ad from them.
Love it.
It says it stimulates cellular vitality, activates circulation, firms skin, eliminates fat.
Yeah.
Stops enlarged pores forming.
I don't have that.
Stops and cures boils, pimples, redness, and pigmentation. Protects from the elements, stops aging, and gets rid of wrinkles. Conserves the freshness and brightness of the complexion.
Yes, please.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I do Botox.
So again,
botulism for the face.
There you go. The last company we're going to talk about is Artis. So it was a 1933 British-made rejuvenating cream. It was made using radon gas. So it's made when you aerosolize radium.
Why do I know that as a noble gas?
I don't know. I could be wrong. We'll look this up later.
Okay.
So in Hairdresser and Beauty Trade magazine in 1933, this is how this was advertised. So the use of radium itself would, of course, be impossible on account of the tremendous cost and harmful effects on the skin. Radon, however, which is the gas obtained from radium, impregnated into the cream, is the
impregnated into the cream. Like, I don't know, I can't.
is the constituent which gives the cream its value. There can be no danger of ill effects through accumulation because radon is completely eliminated from the skin within a period of 6 hours. False.
False.
We understand that this form of treatment has the approval of the medical and scientific authorities in both England and on the continent.
On the continent.
On the continent.
By the way, I just Googled it. Radon, atomic number 86, is a noble gas. Damn, I'm killing it.
But the
with
radon they're talking about is the stuff that comes from...
I still get points that I knew radon in the first place was a noble gas. I need my board. Lots of clicks for me today.
Oh, Lord.
I know. I love when I get to feel smart.
You are smart. So the next foyer we're going to talk about is radium paint. There were several different kinds that were marketed. They mixed glue with zinc sulfide to create a glow-in-the-dark paint.
Oh, yeah, we would have had that in our house.
Absolutely. So there was a Brooklyn nightclub called the Radium Club and Casino that began to play radium roulette, which was roulette played in the dark with the ball and the wheel and everything were painted with the radium paint.
Nice.
Yes.
Take out the radium part of it, and that actually sounds like fun.
Yes. But it was mostly used for like watch dials and things like watch faces.
Yes.
The most widely used paint was called Undark.
Very clever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time on that research department.
Yeah, we did. U.S. Radium Corporation used Undark almost exclusively. So they set up factories mostly in New Jersey. Mind you, there were a bunch of different of these companies that eventually sprung up.
Yeah.
But this was sort of, pun absolutely intended, ground zero. So they received government contracts during World War I to produce glowing watches and airplane instruments.
Okay, yeah.
So they hired women for the work as it was delicate and required small hands. Women were taught to lick the tip of their camel hair brushes to keep the fine point needed to paint such small areas.
Yeah. Oh.
Now, they did use water at first, but found that they were wasting too much paint, so just got rid of the water glasses and told them to lick the brush.
Because ingesting it is so much better.
Mm-hmm. So the developers, the scientists, and the chemists took precautions, but the women were told it was completely safe.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. They also told that they were doing their patriotic duty. It's okay. We've been duped by it several wars. It's fine. X-rays were making their first appearance on the battlefield. So Marie Curie outfitted, to begin with, 18 ambulances with these portable X-ray machines.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so they could go out and diagnose or look at broken soldiers. And,
Yeah.
and fix them better.
For sure.
Yeah. They were affectionately known as petite curies.
Oh, I love that.
Actually, I think it was 200 x-ray machines were put kind of all over the place because of World War I. But
that's impressive with the time.
Nothing advances science more than war, I have to say.
Oh, really?
Manhattan Project.
Fair. Good words. Yeah.
There's a lot. So there's a lot of innovations that come with war. We're very good at killing each other.
Also true.
The women who worked at the factory would later become known as the Radium Girls, but were first called the Ghost Girls.
The Ghost Girls? Why the Ghost Girls?
A lot of them, because they were around the dust and everything all day, it would get on their hair, their skin, their clothes, and whatnot. Right? Okay. When they got off work, they glowed.
Oh, shit!
So a lot of them took to wearing their best dresses to work. So that the fabric would glow when they went out dancing that night afterwards.
Oh, okay.
Most of these women, so they got paid by the watch face. So most women would just eat their lunch at their workstations and keep on working.
Oh, no.
They had fun with it. Often they would paint their teeth. So when they smiled when they went out, their teeth glowed. They would paint their lips. They'd paint their nails. They'd paint their faces. Like do like a face of makeup with it.
Yeah.
Just for fun. They were told it was safe.
Yeah, they think it's safe. They think it's 100% safe.
I've never been handled a glow stick in a drunken state and gone, am I going to grow a third eye? Nah. It's fine. It's fine. They wouldn't be passing it out if it wasn't safe. That kind of thing.
Oh.
We look at it now, but...
I know, but still, I feel so bad for these women. These poor women.
And this is 1917, so this is like before all the research started coming out about radium. However, by 1927, at least 50 workers were dead from this. The women often suffered from amenorrhea, i.e. they didn't have periods anymore.
I don't think that's a suffer.
It is most of these women were in their early 20s.
Oh, so they can't have no babies.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay.
And a lot of them became sterile, but if they did get pregnant, they were prone to stillbirths, or their doctors would terminate their pregnancies as they would not permit development of the fetus under those conditions.
Holy shit.
Yeah. At its peak, U.S. Radium produced nearly 55,200 dials per year per dial painter. Per person. Girl. Per girl.
Damn.
Right. So now we're going to talk about some of these ladies. Amelia Molly Magia was one of the radium ladies. So she went to the doctor with a toothache and extraction, no big deal, whatever.
Yeah.
But she kept having these problems. Once the teeth were removed, painful ulcers would be at the site, and there'd be pus.
Like take the place of where the tooth was?
Yeah, there'd be pus, there'd be blood. They would never heal.
Oh.
Pretty much this spread through the rest of her mouth, and her jaw eventually had to be removed along with several other body parts until she died on September 12th of 1922 of a massive hemorrhage because of the aplastic anemia.
How old was she?
She was young. She was in her 20s.
Damn.
This was not an uncommon tale at the time. Guess what the doctors were paid to say they were dying of?
No.
Guess what?
What?
Syphilis.
So, not only did this human have to die unnecessarily, but then they're going to put something like syphilis on their little record?
Well, obviously, it can't be what our company is doing. She was just a woman of loose morals. So, the way they could get away with this is people knew, it was common knowledge that syphilis did cause parts of your face to rot away. So, they were like, it wasn't the radium, it was the syphilis. Because these were all young women. These all women in their early mid-20s. Yes. Yes. As these cases became more frequent, however, U.S. Radium decided to hire doctors to say it was safe. So the first study that was done said categorically that it was not safe, that it was an extremely unsafe environment. So they fired that doctor.
Oh, and, you won't do.
Yeah. No. And then they got other doctors that they paid to say that it was safe.
I'm clutching my pearls.
Yeah, don't. It's not everybody.
Don't clutch just yet?
Even Marie Curie, who was already really sick with radiation poisoning by the 1920s, would not admit that she was dying of radiation poisoning. Like, no, it's safe because this is her baby.
Yeah.
I mean...
She didn't have children. This was her child.
She had 2 children.
Oh, I was just kidding. Please cut that part out.
Irene and Eve.
Please cut that out.
In fact, her daughter, Irene, won a Nobel Prize as well. They're the only mother-daughter duo that's both won Nobel Prizes. And Marie Curie is the only woman to win twice. I didn't think she had kids either until literally 6 o'clock this morning. You feel better?
I do feel better.
Okay. In 1925, a pathologist named Harrison Martland developed a test that could prove that these women were dying of radium poisoning. The U.S. Radium tried very hard to discredit him, but the Radium Girls would not let that happen. They had his back.
Yeah.
So, in 1927, Grace Fryer, Edna Hussman, Catherine Schaub, Quinina MacDonald, and Albina Larice, the last 2 are sisters, by the way,
Oh, okay.
filed suit against U.S. Radium.
Good.
And they became known as the Radium Girls.
Get it, Queens.
Unfortunately, at their first court appearance, which was in January of 1928, 2 of them were bedridden, and absolutely none of them could raise their arms to take the oath.
Oh my God.
Grace herself could not walk. Her spine was so damaged she required a back brace just to be able to sit up straight.
Jeez.
And all of her teeth were gone. After the initial hearing, U.S. Radium kept asking for delays, basically thinking they could beat
They would just die off,
Mm-hmm.
and then there wouldn't be anybody to go against them.
Yep.
Please tell me the judge did not fall for this.
Well, yes and no. So they had requested as late as September. The judge moved it to June. So it did get delayed, but not as much.
Okay.
But by this time, even by June, the women were so sick.
Deteriorating quickly.
Oh, yeah. They were so sick that U.S. Radium decided, okay, we'll settle. So here's what we'll do. We'll give you $10,000 up front. We'll cover all your medical costs. Plus, we'll give you $600 a year for as long as you personally, not like your family, but you live. Which, by the way, that
wasn't gonna be long. So they knew they could have offered him $1 million a year.
Yeah, they knew that wasn't gonna happen. The caveat was they had to absolve U.S. Radium of any responsibility or liability.
Oh, hell no.
These women were so sick.
No.
These women were so sick. They were in such debt from their medical costs that they took the deal. They didn't have a choice. They didn't have much longer. And plus the $10,000, they took care of all the medical costs. The $10,000 would take care of their families.
Yeah.
I mean,
I hate big corporations.
You can judge all you want, but I also understand where these women are coming from.
I'm not judging. I get it. No, I 100% get it. As a mom who, does make an income and can only imagine medical bills mounting to that, and knowing I probably don't have too much longer, I'd at least want my family to be settled in at least one type of way.
Exactly.
So I get it. It
sucks.
I hate the big corporation for being douchebags.
I'm 100% agree. You're going to love this next part then.
Great.
So Clarence Lee, who was the president of U.S. Radium, released the following statement after the settlement.
Does it say I'm a douchebag?
Oh, no.
Oh, it should.
Oh, but it doesn't. He does come off as a douchebag, though.
I'm sure he does.
In this statement, he said, "We unfortunately gave work to a great many people who were physically unfit to procure employment in other lines of industry. Cripples and persons similarly incapacitated were engaged. What was then considered an act of kindness on our part has since turned against us."
You shit weasel.
I had to walk away from my iPad for 10 minutes when I read that.
Oh my God.
I was at work and I literally looked at Lori and was like, fuck this guy. And Lori was like, I hadn't said anything for 2 hours. Lori was like, are you okay?
No.
So, yeah.
Please tell me somebody came and shoved his mouth full of radium in the night.
No. But they got their comeuppance eventually.
Good.
So a woman named Catherine Wolfe Donahue successfully sued. It wasn't U.S. Radium. It was the Radium Dial Company in Ottawa, Illinois. But it ripples. So she successfully sued in 1938.
So 10 years later.
Yeah. So by the time she saw a doctor, she was 71 pounds. She had no teeth and said she could no longer kneel in church. She was fired from the Radium Dial Company in 1931 because even by then, at the age of 27, she developed a very pronounced limp and weakness, and they said that she was not the portrait they wanted to portray of their healthy workers. Shortly after she was dismissed, her arm was amputated because of the amount of tumors that were on it. And the doctor diagnosed her with radium poisoning. But they didn't tell her it was fatal. She actually didn't find out it was fatal till she went to court.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So by the time she went to court, she was bedridden. She had multiple tumors, and she actually glowed all the time.
Oh.
Yeah. In court, she laid there and had one of the camel hair brushes.
Yeah.
And would just lick the tip and lick the tip.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
She's like, yeah, I did this thousands of times a day. Lick, lick, lick.
Lick,
and
lick,
she's
lick.
like 60 pounds by the end.
Oh, my God.
So she died in July of 1938, weighing 60 pounds, and she was 34 years old.
God bless.
Yeah. Many of the Radium Girls' bodies were actually donated to science, and it's because of them that we know as much as we do about advanced radiation poisoning.
But she won her case.
Yes, she won. She
Okay.
won. Now, let's get to what... There were ripples from that.
Okay, good.
So Catherine's case was the first in which... Well, one of the first in which a big company was held responsible for the health and safety of its employees.
Okay.
And because of this...
OSHA was born.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because of this led to the formation of OSHA, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. There were no protection for workers before that.
Oh.
It was her case that put it into action.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Isn't it?
I mean, sucks for her, but at least it helps millions of people nowadays.
Right. Her and similar type lawsuits, especially like primarily all these Radium Girls.
Yeah.
Are what helped us form things like OSHA that protects workers.
So at least there was something to come out of it, a silver lining in the end, not just the one they were buried in.
It's a lead lining. But like I said, most of the families donated the girls' bodies. So again, we know what we know about advanced radiation poisoning from these women.
Because of them.
We have health and safety standards because of these women. Yes. They did not just take their fate lying down. They were like, nah, bitch.
Nah, bitch.
Nah, bitch. There were some that were buried, but if you go to this day to their graves with a Geiger counter, you will get really high radiation readings.
They didn't make them be buried in?
They didn't know.
But they didn't pull them up and put them in lead lines?
Some of them have. So one woman was exhumed, and they found that her because there's radium in the ambient world.
Yeah.
But they found that her body contained 1,000 times the safe limit of radium.
Aye.
And she was reburied in lead.
Okay.
Marie Curie herself died in 1934 from aplastic anemia due to radiation poisoning. She was 66 years old.
At least she made it a little bit longer, and considering how much she was around it...
Have you seen pictures of Marie Curie? That woman would scare the shit out of death. That woman looks severe up in here. She really does. I'm like, I see pictures and I'm like, don't hurt me. Stern as a... Well, okay, so she was a very determined Polish woman. She wasn't French. She was
yeah.
She was Polish. She was... Yeah, no.
But she became a French citizen, didn't she?
She did, eventually, but yeah.
But still.
One of the first elements she discovered was actually polonium, which she named after her native Poland.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And we could do a whole episode on Marie Curie. She's a very interesting human. But she did die from radiation poisoning. In fact, her notebooks are so radioactive to this day, they cannot be safely handled and are stored in a lead box. Yeah.
So, is there not... You just have to wait out radiation poisoning?
Well, its half-life is 1,600 years.
I get that. That's why I'm saying, like, there's no counteractive...
No, there's no, like, antidote for
it. There we go.
Yeah. No, there's no antidote for it. It'll degrade over time, and I think you can access them, but you have to be in, like, the full bunny suit radiation gear.
Yeah. So they are able to still read them and get some notes out of them. Just not sitting on nobody's countertop.
Not really. I mean, what are you going to do? Write it on a tablet? You can't take the tablet back out with you. What are you going to do?
have an eidetic memory?
So I'm sure that there are pictures and they're whatnot, but it just has to be done under very, very controlled circumstances. Radium today is used in the treatment of cancer almost exclusively. That's what we use radium for to this day.
That's radiation treatment, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So the radon gas, just like that cosmetic, is produced from radium chloride, and that's what's used in the radiotherapy for cancer.
Okay.
So radium-223. So different isotopes do different things. You have an electron here or an electron there and a different charge, and there are different. Any radioactive material is going to have different number isotopes.
Okay.
Radium-223 is used to treat specifically prostate cancer that has spread to the bones.
So is that when we can use the little nutsack thing with the pouch? I mean...
Dude, my dad had radiation treatment for his prostate, and if I tell you it burned a hole...
Oh,
it was bad. It's rough. It is rough on the bottom.
I've heard that radiation treatment is...
But especially, that's a sensitive area.
That's a sensitive area.
Radium-223 gives off alpha particles that kill the cancer cells. And that's, again, it's being used for what full circle intention, what they initially came up with for the use of radium.
Just took a lot of death on the way.
Well, yeah, we're humans. And it was funny because I was looking all this up and I was like, oh, why? So you can still get these watches. Like, you can still buy the watches with the radium stuff on them, right? Or like antique sales and things like that. They have watches that have been handed down. And I was like, well, why?
Why haven't they pulled those?
Because the alpha particles cannot get through glass and metal. So once the watches were assembled, they're fine. They're safe. All that's enclosed. Now,
because they have a low amount of radium in them?
Apparently, alpha particles don't pass through glass and metal. Because, there's alpha radiation, there's gamma radiation. Like, gamma radiation's the Hulk and stuff
I was going to say, gamma rays.
Right. So there's different types of radiation, and each of these particles acts a little bit differently.
Okay.
So, but yeah, the what makes it glow are also the alpha particles, but they can't get through the glass.
So if you ever break the glass of one of these watches, you might want to...
I'm going to yeet that bench and run.
Right?
It's a watch grenade now. I can cover.
What the hell is she throwing a watch for?
They're pretty neat, though, and they do glow really well and whatever. But so as far as these factory sites go... many of them were still used, not for this. Radium and all that kind of fell out of use in the 1960s. But many of these factory sites were still being used up until the late 70s, early 80s. At that point, they decided to make them historical sites. Mostly for the women's contributions as far as like health and safety and all that goes.
Oh, okay.
In 1997... many of these buildings were found to be so radioactive that, the building and the surrounding soil were...
Oh, damn.
Were so radioactive. Like, it's places that had seeped into the groundwater. It was a whole thing. But they end up having to do... not only demolish them, but radiation cleanup. Like a power plant. It's like
Chernobyl.
Not on that scale, but similar thought process of doing radiation cleanup at those sites. Yeah.
So all the buildings that were once housing these watch factories, they're all gone now?
Yeah, they're all gone. Well, they were trying to preserve them. Like I said, in the 70s and 80s, a lot of them were made historical sites.
Yeah.
You couldn't go in them, but they were preserved for that reason.
Yeah.
But after they started testing things, they were like,
that's not right.
So
how long would you have to be in a building like that to get radiation poisoning yourself?
It depends. Like, the girls were working with the paint on a regular basis.
And licking it.
And they were ingesting it.
Yeah.
They were breathing it. They were eating it. They were all the things.
And they went down really fast. But just being in the general vicinity...
I honestly, I don't know the answer to that question. Radium is... You have to understand, like I said, Marie Curie was only able...
time.
Well, no, but she was only able to extract 1 milligram from 10 tons.
Yeah.
In very small amounts, it's extremely poisonous.
Yeah.
I imagine Marie Curie took precautions because they knew, they
They were scientists. They had smarts about them.
They knew at a certain point that they should be wearing lead and things like that. So,
God, could you imagine lead gloves? I bet those are heavy.
So the lead I wear in the cath lab is 20 pounds.
Ugh.
The lead I just got is actually lighter.
Oh, yeah, I got y'all's new designs.
I did. I got unicorn.
Yes.
I have full unicorn lead.
Tink loves your lead, by the way. I showed her a picture. She thinks it's great.
Yes, I have full pink unicorn lead. But I imagine she started taking precautions once she knew what...
Got an inkling?
Well, once they realized that it replaced the calcium in your bones with radium salts. I'm sure that they were like,
oh, shit. Do you know if she had anything to say about the Radium Girls?
She was decidedly mute. Like I said, this was her baby.
Yeah.
So the only evidence I have of her, like, peeking her head out was that one dude, Alfred Curie,
Oh, so she did speak up on him?
Yeah, they looked into suing him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But the family did, and there was pretty much no recourse. So, like, it's his name he can use. What people infer is up to them.
Yeah.
So they ended up not being able to sue him. But in all actuality, he was just endorsing it. It just happened to be that people made the connection between her name.
Oh, it didn't just happen. They knew that was going to happen.
Absolutely.
But it's his name.
It's his name. Like, what are you going to do?
You can't sue somebody because their name is something.
Yeah. No, Marie Curie was conspicuously mute on the subject. She even tried to hide her own ailments.
Aww.
Yeah, she came to the U.S. at one point and was, like, given honorary degrees from, like, Yale and all kinds of places and did, like, a speaking tour and the whole 9 yards. And she was just like, can I just not talk as much? She was so tired. I think this was in the 20s. She was so tired by that point.
Yeah.
And they even say, like, it ages you, like the Radium Girls. Some of them who were in their 20s and 30s look like they were in their 70s or 80s.
Are you going to have pictures of them for the
website?
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes. I have too many pictures.
Well, good. Then I won't feel the need to start Googling because I'm curious. But I'll wait till I put the pictures on the website.
Yeah. I'm going to leave the more graphic ones for the YouTube on the website. I'll do a little bit less graphic.
So now you know, if you don't do graphic, still watch YouTube and skip that part? I don't know. I still want the hits on YouTube. So
right. And that is Radium Girls. I find it very interesting. And, we can judge, but we just had the whole conversation about Botox. Big corporations are still slipping by with cutting corners. These ladies made it a little bit better, but, and we try, but
yeah, people
are always going to find a way around for money.
Always.
And, and we went over how to get men to buy things, how to get women to buy things, and all these things are still relevant today, even though they're a thing. Yeah, even though this is 100 years ago.
Yeah, it's still a thing. If you tell a man it's going to make his wee-wee better, and if you tell a girl it's going to make her face look better, yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah, sign me up. I was just sitting there complaining about how I look old right before we started the podcast, not even knowing that this was a part of today's. Because I was like, I got to go get Botox. I got too many wrinkles.
And I'm over here being like,
yeah, me not knowing. I'm still getting it, though.
That's fine. It's whatever.
It's so when we go to LA, I still look good in my pictures. Okay. Good talk.
Good talk.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end. We are all in the usual places. Chrissy, you can do your spiel.
Oh. You can find us at www.oddlymedical.com, on Facebook, on Instagram, both under the moniker of Oddly Medical. If you like TikTok, so do we. Come on over and check out those videos that Sarah's been putting up. They're fantastic. What else do we have? Oh, we have our email, which is Gmail. oddlymedical@gmail.com. Yeah. Send us any pet pictures that you have.
Yes.
If you can manage to get headphones on them, fantastic.
Brandon, I'm talking to you. I want a picture of that damn bully.
Yes.
In some headphones. ASAP.
That was a cute puppy. I did see that picture.
I know.
Adorbs. So we do have... We never did do Outlaw, did we?
We haven't done Outlaw and we haven't done the Ferret yet. But
Outlaw 16, he may not be participant.
But the tongue out is everything.
I know, my sweet old man. Yes, I have a 16-year-old Chihuahua. I've had him for 14 years, so...
Yeah, the tongue out is everything.
He doesn't have any teeth. But yeah, so send us that. Send us your listener requests. Can't wait to see it. We're actually doing a listener request next week. It's our second one. Super excited.
Steven, I got you, boo.
Yes, and this is our 11th episode.
Yeah, it is.
Super exciting. We're getting there.
Yeah.
And I'm done with cheer competitions and cook-offs, so I'm free.
I just go to work and do this.
Yeah, not me.
You bred again.
I did breed again, and boy, is that sucker! That little creation is expensive and needy.
Mine's about to go to college. I'm about to,
Yours is about to be expensive.
Expensive and needy as well.
Yep.
All right. So this is us signing off. Thank you for listening, our lovely, intrepid oddlings.
I love oddlings. Love it.
I'm Sarah.
I'm Chrissy.
And
bye.